Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, welcome to another video. I'm coming at you with another episode of Around the World in Books, this time Southeast Asia. Alright, I am excited about this one. Today we're starting off my reading Southeast Asian authors video. This is just a couple of countries from Southeast Asia. This is definitely not everyone, but it's a sampling. So I've picked 3 countries that we're going to do in this video. I will definitely be doing more soon. Maybe not soon, but sometime next year I'll hopefully get back to this region. So we'll see. I'm just going to throw this out right now because I feel like I've been putting it at the end of videos and not everybody has been doing it. So, or not anybody has been doing it. But if you have any suggestions for me for either other countries in this region or other regions or other books from these countries, please leave them down below. I would love to know your guys' suggestions of books that I should read. So let me know. I can only do so much research, so sometimes I just have to kind of pick a book. So hopefully you guys have some good suggestions for me and I will get some other things going. But these are the books that I've chosen for these countries. Let's get into the 3 books that I've chosen for this video. I'm just going to give you the rundown on all 3 and then I'll show clips and my thoughts on each of them. Alright, this is my book for Cambodia. This is First They Killed My Father by Long Un. Hopefully I'm saying these right. Just forgive me if I'm pronouncing things wrong. I've tried to do my Googling, but we'll see. I believe there's no translator on this. I think she just wrote it in English. But this is a memoir of the daughter of one of the politicians in Cambodia who got killed when the Pol Pot regime comes through. And then she basically becomes a child warrior during the war. So this is kind of her story. I think there are some books that come after this, so I don't know if this is the full story, but I think it's a good chunk of it. So I'm interested to read this one. I've actually started it. I'm like 1 chapter in, so not very far at all. But so far it seems good. She's just kind of talking about her childhood first, so I think it'll be a little bit about her childhood and then we'll kind of get into the war and stuff like that. So this one will be interesting. There's definitely, as I've been doing research, lots of memoirs around, and so there will probably be a lot in these videos, but this one seems very interesting. This is my pick for India. This is The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. To be honest, I don't really know what this book is about. It's really hard. Even reading the back, it just doesn't make a ton of sense. It seems like one of those more like literary fiction books where there's not like a strong plot line, you're just kind of following the characters, like it's a very character-driven story, I guess is a way to put that. So yeah, I don't know, I think it's kind of a tragedy maybe? I'm not really sure. I will have better information for you after I read this. But this one also won the Booker Prize at some point, which is a pretty big prize, so it'll be interesting to read this one. This one's one of the more popular books that I found that is just kind of like around, so this one will be interesting. I will get back to you with my thoughts. Alright, and the final book in this video is The High Auction by Misbah. I think I'm saying that right. This is my book for Bangladesh. I'm really excited about this one because it is actually a fantasy book. I feel like it is hard to find fantasy from some of these countries. It just feels like it's a lot easier to find like memoirs and literary fiction, but finding like fantasy books is pretty rare, at least in the countries that I've researched so far. But basically, I think this one is like post-World War III maybe? It's like an apocalyptic steampunk fantasy is kind of the thing. It is so short, which will be interesting. I think there is at least a second one out, possibly. And maybe a third, I'm not 100% positive. But yeah, so I'm super excited about this one. It's a nice quick one, so it'll be a fun one to end this on. It's super easily available on Amazon, so I couldn't really find it at any other stores, but it is on Amazon. That's where I got it, so I'm excited about this one. This one will be a very interesting one. It'll be a nice little refresher with fantasy at the end of what are probably going to be 2 slightly heavier books. So those are my 3 choices for Southeast Asia for right now. Again, if you have any recommendations for the other Southeast Asian countries, I would love your help. Some of them I found books that I'm interested in but seem really hard to get to the US, so if you have any ideas of ones that are more available in the US, I would love them. Please leave them down below. But we're gonna get started with First They Killed My Father, and I will come and update you once I have read this book. Hello everybody. It is time for an update on this video. Long overdue. The past couple days I've been sick, so I haven't done a lot of talking to the camera, but I have done quite a bit of reading. So I have managed to finish First They Killed My Father. This book is going to take the spot as my first 5-star book of this series. That being said, I don't know that I would blindly recommend this to just anyone, but let's get into it a little more detailed. I was really nervous going into this book, to be honest. It sounded like some really heavy stuff, and to be fair, it is a lot of really heavy stuff, and that's why I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to just anyone. I think you should definitely look up trigger warnings before you go into this. There is lots of obviously heavy topics. There's lots of talks about rape, being separated from your family, lots of death, lots of things like that. So lots of things about starvation. So you should definitely look up the trigger warnings before you go into this book. If you are someone who is not heavily triggered by those topics, I do think this is a really useful book if you want to get a good idea about the history of the Khmer Rouge, which I'm still not 100% positive I'm saying that right, and everything that went down with that takeover. I think this book is written in a very accessible way. The person who wrote it, she was like 5 when the whole book started, so you're following her basically from when she's 5 to like 11ish. I think she might be 11 by the end of the book. So it's very much so written from the perspective of a young child, which makes it where you're aware of all the bad stuff that's happening, but you're not getting so many details that it's like a heavy, gruesome book that's super hard to read. I don't feel like this put me in a book slump, which I was really scared about, so that was good. It is written in a highly accessible, quick way to read while still getting all the information and being highly informative. So I think this was a really well written book, especially considering that English is not her first language. I think that is really impressive to be able to put it together in a way that is so straightforward and understandable for people like me who have no way to really relate to stuff like this, but it makes it so that you are able to understand it so well. So I thought this was a very well done memoir. So there are a couple more books in, I don't know if it's necessarily a series. Goodreads has it called the Daughter of Cambodia series. And so this one does wrap up. It's not like you get left with her in the middle of a terrible situation, kind of how like fiction works. She does kind of wrap it up, and you do kind of know, fast forward into the next little bit. Yeah, so this book really focuses on her life in Cambodia. It looks like maybe the next book focuses on her life in the US. And then maybe reuniting with her family, something like that, and then the next one's further on from there. So it does look like there's a couple more books, so I don't know that I'm necessarily feel the need to pick up 2 more books, but if I ever decided that I wanted another memoir, I do think that would be interesting to go and read some of her other books. So that is my thoughts on First They Killed My Father. Would recommend, with the caveat that you check the trigger warnings. And I have now started God of Small Things. I am currently on page 200, which means I've got like 120, 130 pages, 120 pages left. I don't know that I'm loving this book. It's kind of, I guess how I'd put it is, it is very like character-based, not plot-based. And so we keep getting distracted, or these little anecdotes or things like that that probably help build the characters, but they have nothing to do with the somewhat plot that we're following. And so that's a little frustrating for me as somebody who likes to read books primarily for the plot. But so far it's going okay. It's gotten a little better in the second part, so we'll see how the last 120 pages go. I don't have a ton of thoughts on it right now, so I will update you again when I have finished The God of Small Things, and then we will get into our third and final book. Alright, hello everybody. I have finished The God of Small Things, and to be honest, my thoughts have not changed much from the last update. I did not love this book. I've been trying to put my thoughts together about it, and quite frankly I just want to be done thinking about this book, so this might be a little incoherent, but this book is very much so character driven, practically no plot. It is also highly, highly repetitive. Basically the last like 20 pages is where you actually get like a solid just tell through the plot, put all the pieces, and almost all of those words have been written exactly as they were throughout the rest of the novel. Basically, I think what this book was meant to be was basically a commentary on the caste system in India, and I think that's a really important and interesting topic. And when this book first came out, it sounds like there was quite a bit of controversy, especially in India, about the book. So I get what it was trying to do and why this book is important, and I think that that's probably partially why it's won awards and stuff like that. But I personally just did not like how this book was written. It is all over the place. You're constantly getting sidetracked with all these little things that don't actually have anything to do with the very minimal plot that is in the book. So at the risk of sounding really harsh, I think I'm going to rate this like a 2.5 stars. I just would love to read a book that was actually super informative about the caste system and the history of it over reading something like this. I think I can see where there would be some people who really like it, that are in it purely for like just the literature and the way she describes stuff, but quite frankly I skim read the last 100 pages because I was so bored, and I just was tired of trying to figure out why these things were important when the majority of them didn't even end up being that important. I just think the important stuff that she was trying to get across, that I do agree are important issues, were lost in this rambly story about these people, and I just didn't really care. Like, if this book was supposed to make me mad about the caste system, it didn't. I don't feel like I have any emotions towards any of the strong emotions towards the issues that she was trying to bring up in this book. I feel like I just have strong emotions that I just wanted to be done. So I don't recommend this book. It sounds like it's a little hit and miss whether people like it or not, so hopefully I'm not offending anyone too bad, but this just wasn't the book for me. I think I would be very interested to read about the caste system in maybe more of a nonfiction. Honestly, I think that that is a topic that I would probably rather read like a memoir or a nonfiction, just like give me the history of it type of a book. So if you have any recommendations of maybe something talking about similar issues, but from maybe a more nonfiction standpoint, I think that would work better for me personally. If you are someone who really can't handle nonfiction and you want to read about the caste system, you might like this book, but again, I don't feel like it actually really hit home too much with the points it was trying to make for me personally. So that's The God of Small Things. Unfortunately, didn't love it. But that means that we are now on to the book that I am the most excited for in this video, and that is The High Auction. I'm really trying to keep my expectation levels down. This is tiny, so there's not a lot of room to work with in this, but it is like a fantasy, steampunky, sci-fi-esque book. I'm not entirely sure. Based off the back, I can't tell. I think it might be best categorized as like a steampunk fantasy, but I'm really excited. I also just, one more moment for this cover. The author is also the illustrator, so I think it's such a cool cover. But I'm going to get into this now. It is super short. Like, let's see. It's only 156 pages, so this is like short story status. So I'm hoping I can read like the majority of this today. We'll see. But I will update you probably when I finish this one, because honestly it's so short I don't know that I need to stop in the middle to give you thoughts. Alright, hi everybody, it's time to wrap this video up. It's actually been a couple minutes since, or a couple weeks since I finished the last book for this video. I've obviously gotten my hair cut, and I've had lots of time to kind of think through my thoughts. So first thing I want to do is recap my thoughts on The High Auction. I kind of went into this book thinking that it was going to be basically like a series of short stories, and this was like the first one, because I know that there's I think 3 episodes out, and so I thought that they were all just kind of short stories in the same world. Having now finished this book, I think they basically are all part of one book. This really feels like I read the first 150 pages of a book and then put it down. So I don't know that I can really give too accurate of thoughts on this book yet. Basically, it's this world where we're post-apocalypse, World War III type of a thing. And humans have now gained the ability to evolve, and you sort of get superpowers, sort of can control magic-ish if you are one of the more evolved people, but not everybody is able to evolve to the same level. And so you're following somebody who pretty much has not evolved at all. And there's some mystery about, like, she got adopted when she was a teenager or something and has no memories from before that, or something like that. I still don't quite fully understand it. And so you're following her, she's really good at fixing up cars, and then there's this book and some stuff starts to happen, and you pretty much just got the setup. I don't really know where the rest of this thing is going, so I don't know. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was very interesting. It was a very cool world that they created, but again, it just feels like I read the first 150 pages of a book and I don't really know that I can say too much. So at some point I will probably need to get the other 2 episodes and read the rest to actually have a solid opinion on this book. Maybe I will do that and then recap it the next time I do a Southeast Asian authors video, which might have to be soon because I did get a couple books from a Southeast Asian author that I really want to read. So I just need to do some more research and get a few more, but maybe I will throw in the other 2 episodes into that video. So if you'd like to see that, let me know. Otherwise I'll just put them in like a monthly recap if I do get around to reading them. So that's my thoughts on the High Auction. I definitely think you need all 3 episodes in order to get the full story. So I think they basically are one complete book. It's just broken out into episodes. So that's my thoughts on that. And with that, we are now to the end of the video. These are my 3 books. We had my first 5-star of this challenge with They First They Killed My Father. Would really recommend this one. I still, even a couple weeks later, think that this one is a great read. Would highly recommend. The Goddess of All Things, which I just, quite frankly, have removed this from my brain. I don't get it. I just don't understand. And then obviously the High Auction, which I think is a good setup, but I don't know that I can say more than that. So those are my books from Southeast Asian authors so far. Again, this is only 3 of several countries, so there will probably be at least a couple more parts to this video. I don't know how soon they will come. I'm guessing I will do at least 1 more in this upcoming year, but I have several other regions that I want to get to soon. So that's kind of my thoughts. I really enjoyed these. I think that there's some great interesting storytelling. It's definitely got a different vibe from some of the other books that I've read, so that's been interesting to kind of read it region by region. But that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've read any of these books, let me know. If you have any recommendations of books from other countries, either from Southeast Asia or just generally, let me know. I would love some recommendations. I will link the playlist down below or in a little card up above if you would like to see some of the other videos. This is, I think, my 3rd video going up in this challenge, and there will be one hopefully coming soon where I will be reading Nordic Noir. So I'm super excited for that one. Look for that one coming hopefully within the next couple months. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.